Thank you for your patience this morning. It's kind of fun. So a few weeks ago, a poem showed up in my Facebook feed, and I read it and went, wow, that is so me. Wonder if it's true for others at church. I should ask. I'll just take it some Sunday. And this seemed like a good Sunday to do it. So I'm going to share this poem with you by a woman named Lindy Thompson. And she writes, I might be exhausted and the children might be cranky, but I will be going to church on Sunday. Don't know who's preaching, doesn't matter. Sermon may be helpful or not, holds my attention or doesn't. It's the singing. I go to sing. I get up, get clean, get dressed, possibly get mad at the not ready kids, at the empty coffee pot, at the traffic. Get going, get there, get seated, get comfortable, get focused, and when the music starts, get saved. It's the singing. I go to sing. It's the willingness to stand if you are able, the common agreement on a page number, the voluntary sharing of songbooks with people on your row, even ones you rode there with. But most of all, it's the collective in-breath before the first sound is made, the collective drawing upon the grace of God, the collective, if inadvertent, admission that we are all human, all fragile, all in need of the sustaining air freely dispensed, all in need of each other to get the key right and not sound discordant. It's the hidden life celebration in the act of making a joyful noise, all together. We don't even have to sound that good. Singing together still brings home the we-ness of worship, the not aloneness of life in God, the best of all we have to offer each other. When we are singing, I think that I might actually be able to forgive you for being so terribly human. And you might be able to forgive me for being so terribly not there yet. And we might be able to find peace now, not postpone it for some heavenly hereafter, but live and breathe it today, drawing in the grace of God, voicing out our need and hope and gratitude and longing. When we are singing, I can feel the better world coming. And if I get to be a part of it, then you do too. So sing with me, and we'll make our way down that blessed road together, collectively better than we ever thought possible. So it's not a big surprise that I like that poem, right? I have preached plenty of sermons on the power of singing, alone or together. It's my personal go-to spiritual practice. But that's not where this poem took me. Instead, I asked myself, okay, I get the thing about going to church to sing, but that's not everybody. That's okay. Why else do people go to church? So I'm not talking about the big communal important why statement over there that's like why this church is special and different and exists at all. I'm talking about you individually. When you woke up this morning and you were nice and warm and cozy under the sheets and the rain was beating down on the roof, what made you get up and get dressed and come to church? So I decided to play with that question a little bit. See, I'll tell you a secret. The minister always thinks you come to hear the sermon. Because that's what we spend all week thinking about, right? And the rest of the service is sort of window dressing around this thing that we've been working on. And maybe it is true in a few cases, but you heard the poet. What did she say? Don't know who's preaching, doesn't matter. Sermon may be helpful or not, holds my attention or not. Yeah, right. Get over it. So the sermon isn't the whole story, and there's got to be something more going on. So we know, for at least some people, I go to church to sing. Pulled out of my memory another very interesting story about why someone goes to church. I was seated at a dinner years ago when I had just told people at Genentech that I was going to seminary, and they were in the process of getting over the shock. Because, that's a little bit of an unusual transition. And I was sitting next to my friend John, who was a pediatric oncologist. So he's a cancer doctor, and all of his patients are children. This is a very hard job because an awful lot of your patients don't make it, and they're all little. Ugh. I mean, he was really good at it, but after some years of the hands-on practice, the intensity and the emotional drain got to him. So he decided to still use his training and back off of the hospital work and go to work for Genentech and develop better drugs to treat those same children, which put him in the same field but at a little bit of a remove. So that's how I ended up knowing it, because we were all at Genentech together. Now, John was nominally Catholic. I say nominally because, that was his upbringing. And he went to church because his wife was actively involved, and it just kept peace in the family, right? But I listened to him describe what he got out of it, why he went to church. He said, I go to church for the quiet. My work life is so hectic, church is the 1 hour in the week when I can just unplug. I let the words and the music just flow over me. I can make those responses without even thinking about it. It's just totally automatic. I'm in a world of my own. I'm quiet, good energy around me. I go to church to be quiet. It sounded to me like a new form of meditation, right? Come to Mass and zone out. Now it really doesn't matter what the sermon is about. He just admits he's not listening at all. So, I go for the singing, I go for the quiet. I know there are at least a few of us in this room who would answer that question, why do you go to church, with, I go for the hugs. That's shorthand for belonging, for community, for being in a place. It's kind of like that. Do you remember watching that old sitcom called Cheers, the bar in Boston, and the theme song, right? You want to be how does that go? Where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. Well, if you don't happen to have a bar handy that satisfies those requirements, come to church, right? It's the most human desire of all to be part of a group that knows you, that is glad to see you show up, it's a big reason for a lot of people. And wouldn't you know that, in fact, this week, after I'd gotten started thinking about this sermon, I've told you before about these daily emails I get called the UCC Daily Devotionals, where various clergy write little reflections on Bible passages. Got, 15, 20 authors. There's 3 of them that I always read because they're just really good writers and they always have something to say. So Monday morning, here is one of my 3 favorite writers writing the daily devotional on join a church. Oh, I thought, this is right on. So this is what Mary Ludy had to say. She said, "I know an old woman who worries about outliving her partner and most of her friends and family. The grief of that anticipated loss messes with her sleep. And the fear, with them gone, who'll look out for her? She doesn't want to die alone." She confided all this to a friend. His advice: join a church. Church people will take care of you. You won't be alone. She was taken aback by how crass and self-interested his advice felt. "Hi, I'm Sally. I'm old and getting older. I'm joining your church so I won't be alone." What kind of a reason is that? If people knew she'd come hoping for a few visits and a casserole someday, wouldn't they feel used? She decided he must be kidding. He wasn't. I don't know whether she'll do it, but I hope so, because her friend is right. Anyone who's ever been lucky enough to be part of a loving church knows it. To approach such a community for company and care isn't selfish. It's giving that church a chance to be church. Some Christians think that the church is most fully what Christ intends only when it's publicly engaged in the struggle against the sinful systems of our unjust world. But the world's axis also tilts towards God's dream whenever some random old person or anyone at all comes to us to be accompanied and is met with open arms. Join a church. They'll take care of you. That was the daily devotional. I thought, wow, I think I'll just include that. Because even if you're not old and worried about dying alone, it's worth it on Sunday morning to get here. For the sympathy, for the encouragement, for the congratulations, for whatever it is that you need that day, and to offer all of that to others, to be in relationship, which, if you believe the sociological studies, always ends up concluding that the most predictive factor for longevity is people who are in relationships. There you go. I go for the singing. I go for the quiet. I go for the hugs. Some people go to church to learn something new, or at least to see old stuff from a different perspective. Jan Lamphere used to say, "It's a good Sunday when I get a nugget to take home for the week." Remember her saying that? See, that was her word, nugget. Sometimes the nugget was new information. But often it was the memory of an experience. It wasn't a head nugget, it was a heart nugget. An experience in a ritual, from a prayer, in a song, something that she could take home and relive during the week, something that spoke to her. I remember last Ash Wednesday, Jan was here in her wheelchair, and Terry and I were doing a water over the hands purification ritual as part of the service. Jan was sort of stuck where she was, so at one point we took the ritual to her instead of making her, come to the station. Denise and Terry and I, with the bowl, the pitcher, and the towel, walked over to Jan's wheelchair and proceeded to say the words and do the water over the hands. She was reduced to tears. It seemed the most natural thing in the world to do that, and yet, for her, what it said to someone who had spent her life being of service to other people, that she was worthy of being served. that she was cared about, that she was loved. She took that nugget home and held on to it for the remaining months of her life. I know, because she reminded me of it more than once. It's those moments that you can't plan ahead of time. You just do what seems the most natural thing, and because you're being authentic, it is meant that same way. And Roy would call it the grace of God. It's a little bit of magic in the moment, and those are very, very special. So I go for the singing, I go for the quiet, I go for the hugs, I go for the nugget. You know how I'm going to start talk back. Tell me why you go to church. Okay, we're doing primitive Zoom this morning, so hang on. Okay, Marguerite, we're doing portable talkback here.